So a couple of months ago, I made a video talking about the fact that there was a 1 month span where we were going to be getting 3 big blockbuster movies. Of course, I was talking about Avengers Infinity War, Solo, a Star Wars story, and of course, sandwiched in between them was Deadpool 2, which decided to move from its original June date to there for whatever reason. And I said that this was going to be problematic. Most people were going to go see Avengers, and then the other movies would fall short of their expectations. I got called out on it naturally, saying that this isn't how it works, but if you look at the natural stats of how many people go and watch movies as a family and how much they can afford, this was kind of a given. They saw Black Panther, they were going to go see the next movie he's in, which is Infinity War, and then a lot of them, by the look of it, are waiting for Incredibles 2. So naturally, there seemed to be like the indication that some of these movies were going to fall short of their expectations. Deadpool 2, of course, opened up with less money than the original Deadpool. And now, as we've learned, the Friday to Friday drop has been 77% on that film. So just so that makes sense, we've had previous drops that are kind of like this, that are big record, like dropping, if you will, and it's not a good indicator for what the movie is going to do. I mean, that's quite a substantial drop, which means the following weekend, it's going to be even bigger. And when you start thinking of it that way, Deadpool 2 already finds itself in a lot of trouble, and it already did this weekend when Solo, a Star Wars story came out, which that movie got damaged pretty badly itself. Originally tracking to be 150 to 170 million, Solo now is reporting that they're looking optimistically at 115. So as you can tell, the pattern here is that everything had to be revised downwards, and this is something that's becoming more and more of a trend. Specifically, when I talked about it and when we discussed it on the CBC podcast, I said there was no way that these movies do not compete with each other's money. And you're looking at a lot of people that are going to go and look at something like Deadpool and look at something like Solo, which isn't doing as favorably well as some of the other movies in the franchise. Like Deadpool 2 definitely doesn't have the wow factor that the first one did. And you look at Solo, and that's coming off some bad press from certain fandoms in regards to The Last Jedi and a lot of, do we need a Solo movie? So naturally, if people were saving up money or they had extra cash, it seems that they wanted to go and see Avengers Infinity War again, which is still holding on. And it makes me just think of, why are these studios doing this? Because they must have known it's going to happen. I mean, Disney must have known that as powerful as brand as Star Wars is, you can't compete with Marvel, and you shouldn't compete with anything Marvel, even if it's not your own, even Deadpool. And Deadpool is already a big enough brand, but Deadpool can't compete with the cinematic universe of the Avengers. So that's, looking at it and just kind of scratching your head thinking, why did these movies come out when they did? Because they're now tracking far less than all anticipations were pointing to. And maybe worldwide, Solo can be saved and Deadpool as well, but I mean, look at the domestic box office. Certainly not impressive at all.